Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a cool tone look. I'm going to be shopping my stash for products that I already have in my collection. And before I show you the look, I just wanted to quickly show you all the products that I'm going to be using today and explain why I chose them to go with each other. I always get a lot of questions on that, like how do you choose lip products to go with eyeshadow or foundation or blush? So I just thought it might be helpful if I explain my reasoning for choosing everything, and then we'll go ahead and get into the look. So for this look, most of the time I would say when I go to put a look together, I center everything around a palette. So the palette that I chose today is the Enduring Love palette from Sydney Grace. I just got this very recently, only a couple days ago. I've only done one look with it, so I've really been excited to play with it a little bit more. And the overall vibe of this palette is cool toned. So I definitely was planning to do more of a cool tone look today. And then based on the shades that I chose in this palette, that's kind of how I got the rest of the products that I was going to use. So a couple months ago, I did do a video on kind of how I choose eyeshadow colors in a palette. So I'll leave that linked above in case you want to check it out. But I can just tell you quickly, based on the colors in this palette, what I chose. So normally when I'm trying to figure out what look I want to put together, I decide what color I'm going to be using on my lid, since that one is going to be the most prominent color. So for today's look, I decided to use the shade Devotion. So what I'll normally do is just do a quick swatch of my lid color. So this is just an absolutely gorgeous kind of rose gold shade. It's so beautiful. So then I thought about what other colors would go with that. I'm looking for maybe like a transition shade and then also something a little bit deeper for my outer corner. So for a transition color, I really like this one next to it. I think it looks really pretty and I think it'll go well together and just kind of add that little bit of rosiness to it. So I'm just going to swatch this next to it and just make sure that, because sometimes things look a little bit different in the pan than they actually do swatch. So I just want to see that these colors actually look good together. And then I'm thinking for my outer corner, I might want to use this Passion shade right here. I think adding a little bit of gray to this look might be really pretty. So I'm just going to swatch that one. And as you can see, these three colors together, they really go together well. I think they look super pretty and they're going to make a gorgeous look. So based on these colors, then I went ahead and chose the rest of my makeup. So for blush, I decided to go with the Persona Super Blush in the shade Caramel because this is a really cool tone blush and I felt like it would just really go well with these eyeshadows. But again, I'm just going to go ahead and swatch it next to the colors just to make sure that they, it doesn't clash or anything like that. So yeah, as you can see, I think that pairs really, really beautifully together. And then when it comes to lip color, I'm also going to be using the Sydney Grace lip cream in the shade Sarah. And I got this one also when I got the palette. And I couldn't wait to use this with a look. I didn't use it the first time I did a look with the Sydney Grace palette just because it didn't seem like it was really going to go together well. But I'm just going to put this one, I guess, down here and just make sure that this looks okay with these shades. So yeah, I mean, I figured this is a little bit deeper of a lip color, but the overall look of my eyes and cheeks is going to be more on the lighter side. So I feel like I can go a little bit darker with my lips. Normally, I mean, you don't have to follow that rule, but normally if I'm going more neutral with my eyes, I feel like I can do a bolder lip. You don't have to. You can go neutral all the way around. Or, on the flip side, usually if I'm doing something really dark on my eyes, I keep my lips very, nude or like almost close to my lip color. And then as far as the rest of the products that I'm using, these two right here are just staples that I use every single day. This is the only eye pencil that I have in my collection at the moment. I usually only have one hanging around just because, I don't know, it's just something that I use every day, but it's not like I need multiple colors or anything. So this one is from Real Her and it's called I Am Strong. It's just a universal brow pencil, so it only comes in one color. But what I love about this is just how easy it is to draw on. It's like not too firm and it's not too soft or waxy. It's really just a beautiful texture. I love using this. It has a really teeny tiny skinny tip to it. I did get this one in PR, but once it runs out, I'm going to be purchasing another one. Usually I use either the Anastasia Brow Wiz or the Arches and Halos version of that from Target. And then we have the Pixie by Petra Correction Concentrate in Brightening Peach. This is one that I use just to color correct the darkness around my eye area. And it's something, again, that I use every single day. And then for foundation and concealer, I just grabbed two out of my drawer. The first one is the number 7 Protect and Perfect Advanced All-in-One Foundation. I got this very recently. Number 7 sent it to me, and I haven't tried it all that much. I used it a few times, so I wanted to just play with it a little bit more. And then we also have the Benefit Boing Cakeless Concealer. I got this one recently too. I originally had gotten a little sample card of it with a Sephora order and fell in love with it. It really truly is cakeless. Like it goes onto your skin so flawlessly for a concealer, and I have so much trouble with those these days too, just because my skin is really dry and I'm starting to get a lot of fine lines underneath my eyes. So this one, it's just amazing like how smooth it is, and it almost makes your skin look better where you put it. It's kind of amazing, and I have actually used this all over my face, just almost like a foundation, and it worked out really well. So I mean, it's just beautiful. It has amazing coverage. I love this stuff. And this is in shade number 2, by the way. And then for mascara, I'm using the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes. I picked this one just because it's one of my favorites. It's one of my go-tos. I love the brush on it. I think it's just like perfect for getting really close up to your lash line. It's not a super giant brush, which I sometimes have trouble with those. And I love the formula. I just think it gives me really, really big lashes. So anyway, that's everything that I used in today's look. So now let's go ahead and jump into that. All right, so I'm going to start out with the number 7 Protect and Perfect Advanced All-in-One Foundation in Cool Vanilla. And I'm going to be applying this today with my beauty sponge from Nabla Cosmetics. They had sent that to me in PR. And I really like this one because it has the two different edges. You have the rounder side, and then you also have the flat side for getting into smaller spaces. And what I love about this foundation is it's kind of like a thinner version of the IT Cosmetics CC Cream. That one used to be holy grail for me, but as I get older, I find it to be very thick and cakey on my skin, and it just doesn't sit right. So this one actually is everything that I want the IT Cosmetics one to be. It's just very thin, very weightless on the skin, and it looks really natural looking. It doesn't get cakey or heavy. It has a light to medium coverage, which can easily be built up with no issues. Next up, I'm going to apply the Pixie Peach Concentrate on the inner corners of my eyes and the outer corners. I love this trick because it just neutralizes that bluish tone that's underneath my skin that's poking through, especially in the inner corners of my eyes. It's really gotten darker over the years, and I find that if I just use concealer, it's not enough coverage. So if I put this on and then put a concealer on top, it pretty much cancels those out completely. And putting it on the outer corners of my eyes too just helps to give them a little bit more of a lifted effect, and it cancels out the shadows and makes them look a lot less droopy. Then I'm going in with the Benefit Boing Cakeless Concealer in the shade 2, and I'm putting this one right on the outer corner and inner corners of my eyes again. And this is a trick that I actually learned from another YouTuber, Robert Welsh. His channel is amazing. I'll link it down below. He has so many great tips. And he had mentioned doing this because those are really the area of your eye that needs the most coverage, and then just kind of blend in towards the center a little bit, but you don't need to actually put product there, because if you're putting it on the outer and inner corners and then just blending it into the middle, you have less product sitting in that middle area there where it tends to crease and settle into fine lines. So that's what I've been doing, and I think it's perfect because really I don't need a lot of coverage underneath my eyes. Next up, I'm going to go in with the Real Her Brow Pencil, and as I mentioned in the beginning, I really like this one just because it's so simple to use. I don't have to press too hard like some pencils, and it doesn't have that thick waxy texture that kind of gunks up your brows either. So I like to just use really tiny short strokes and then take the spoolie on the other side and comb it through every once in a while, and then go back in and back and forth. And I find that this color is a pretty good match for me. Usually I like to go a little bit lighter with my brows just so that they don't look super heavy and overwhelm my face. This one I would say is very, very close to the actual color, maybe just a hint darker, but it still works out just fine. Okay, so then for eyes, I'm going to dip into the Juliet shade in the palette with my Morphe M433 brush and just start working this into my crease. And what I do is just place it right in my actual crease, like where the socket is, and go back and forth and then start to blend upwards towards the brow bone. And I really like this brush because it's a little bit more of like a flat blending brush, so it really fits into my crease nicely and doesn't blend too far. But then when I'm done with that, I go in with with the Morphe M330 brush, which is a really big fluffy one, and then I just take that and kind of blend out the edge of the shadow a little bit to prevent any harshness or any type of obvious line. And then next I'm going to dip into the shade Passion, and for this one I'm using the M506 from Morphe. This one is a teeny tiny crease brush, which is great if you have hooded eyes because it puts the shadow exactly where you want it to go. And when I'm using the deeper color then in the outer corner and deepen up the crease, I like to really make sure that I have a precise placement going on because I don't want this to overwhelm the other shade that I put. So I really just want the shadow to go in a specific area. And I mainly just keep the shade right on the outer third of my eye. And then the last color I'm going to use is that Devotion shade, and I'm just going to pick this one up with my finger and apply it to my lids, and oh my gosh, this shade is so foiled and so gorgeous. I love it. These shadows are great because you don't have to wet them to make them intense. Next, I'm going to be going in with the Lights Camera Lashes. As I said in the beginning, I love the brush on this one. It's just so easy to work with and it really coats your lashes nicely without getting super clumpy. I feel like it has a very dense brush, so there's not a lot of room for big globs of mascara to kind of go in between the bristles. And this is the type of wand I really like for that reason because it does get a lot of product on your lashes, but it's not overly clumpy. I feel like it's very evenly spaced. All right, so then let's go in with the Persona Super Blush in the shade Carmel. Oh my gosh, I love these blushes so much. I love Persona as a brand. I think they're just wonderful. Every product they come out with is a hit for me. And I'm applying this with the Flower Beauty blush brush, and I love this one because it's like a nice fluffy brush, but it's also small. So again, you can really have good control with where you're placing it. Sometimes if I use a brush that's too large, which sometimes I have a tendency to do because I love a big fluffy brush, but sometimes then I put blush all over my cheek and I really just want it in like one specific place. And this color is such a beautiful like mauvey pink, and it's not completely flat matte. It doesn't have shimmer in it, but I feel like it's more of a satin where it does kind of catch the light a little bit. And then last but not least, we're going to go in with the Sydney Grace lip cream in the shade Sarah, and this is a really beautiful mauve again. I think it's just going to pair perfectly with this look, and this formula is amazing. It's like a cross between a lipstick and a lip gloss. It's like a very super pigmented lip gloss with a very cushiony, hydrating feel, and it actually lasts really long throughout the day as well, or at least longer than your typical lip gloss. All right, and then here's the finished look. I almost wish I had someplace to actually go today because I love the way that this came out, but sadly, I'm just gonna be wearing this makeup to sit around at home. Oh well. All right, guys, so that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below what you think of any of these products, if you've tried any of them, or if you have any thoughts, or if you're planning on picking any of them up. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button here in the right-hand corner of your screen, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.